A ticket to the Big East tournament was punched at an unlikely venue by the hottest team on North Broad. The field hockey squad now prepares to face one of the top-ranked teams in the nation. We have a preview on deck.
They could have really changed how this game went.
Yeah, the game plan was to start fast, and we did not. So I think that constitutes not starting fast.
A slow start on offense and missing your head coach is just too difficult for Temple to overcome at Navy.
We have a couple of coaching debuts and a loaded show to unpack for you today.
OwlSports Update is live, and it starts right now.
Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of OwlSports Update. He's Matt Rineer and I'm Erik Jesberger. The fall season is winding down for some teams at Temple while winter and spring teams are just beginning.
We have the Owls competing on the national stage and a Big East tournament berth for Michelle Batista's field hockey squad. And that's where we start today. Temple field hockey has had an incredible season thus far. Double-digit wins, a national ranking. But despite the success, their postseason berth came down to one game. The Owls traveled to UConn on Friday in a must-win game against the nationally ranked Huskies. A win, and they're in. A loss, and it's an early day with the offseason. Temple was 0-3 against ranked opponents this year, but they look to change that against the Huskies. Peyton Reiger with the ball now. She is sneaking this one past the goalkeeper before Tess Muller puts it into the net for her sixth goal of the season. The Owls drawing first blood, and now a penalty corner opportunity for Temple. Nico Orlemans draws it in before Myrthe Schuilenburg fires on the net and puts the Owls up 2-0 late in the second quarter. Second half now underway, and Tess Muller again. She is on the outside manipulating traffic before dumping it off to Sydney Beck, whose shot finds the back of the net to make it a 3-goal lead for Temple. It wasn't so easy in the fourth, now 3-1. This penalty stroke from Claire Janenworth cuts this lead to 1. But in the final seconds, the Owls hold on for a 3-2 as your final with a celebration and a Big East tournament trip for the second straight season.
The Big East Tournament Conference bracket is set and ready to be played in Norfolk, Virginia, as the fourth-seeded Owls will take on top-ranked Old Dominion Friday. UConn also faces Liberty. The winners play each other Sunday at 4 p.m. for the Big East title.
Moving into this tournament.
Yeah, I think what's really cool was being able to actually convert on a, top 15 opponent. We had played previously ODU and Liberty, who are both, great opponents. We would statistically dominate them and not come away with the win.
I mean, ODU is a good team. I think just kind of coming out mentally ready, right at the start of the game.
We know that they're a very skilled team. They have some good, very strong midfielders. So we're just going to scout them even better than we did. We kind of know what their game plan is now.
And, what we have learned from that game is taking advantage of our opportunities and everything that we do well in the game, on getting corners, and we hope to capitalize on those this time.
The Monarchs are averaging 3.5 goals per game this season and shut out the Owls in late October 2-0.
Temple football is still seeking its first conference win of the season, and the Owls had their chance on Saturday against Navy. The special teams unit for the midshipmen taking advantage of Temple's mistakes as Ahmad Anderson muffs the punt, and just like that, Navy is set up inside Temple's 20-yard line. On the very next drive, the midshipmen punch it into the end zone with this 15-yard run by Dabo Fofana, 10-0 Navy. Entering the third quarter, the Owls needed a spark, and late in Jordan provides it, forcing the fumble and recovering it in the end zone for the touchdown. Fourth quarter now underway, and E.J. Warner connects with Ahmad Anderson, who makes a sensational one-handed catch over the middle before being brought down at the 5-yard line. This play leads to a 22-yard field goal by Camden Price to force overtime. However, this is where the midshipmen would pump the brakes on any chance of a Temple comeback as Xavier Airline races it into the end zone, and that ends it. The final from Annapolis, 27 Navy, Temple 20.
I don't know exactly. We just executed better, made the plays, made the throws better than I did at the beginning of the game. We made catches, we blocked well, and we just had to start fast and basically do that from the beginning of the game to give us a better chance. We don't have to keep coming back from down all these points and try to fight to the end.
Going in at halftime, we knew we had to change some things. Instead of going under the low block, get over the low block and really take away that veer option. So I feel like that was a key moment in the game. It was a big turning point when Leto had got the touchdown. So I feel like that was very good on the defense, but we just didn't get the outcome that we wanted. So we just gotta get back to work.
It really felt like a total team effort.
Now it's back at home against the only other winless team in the conference, 0-4 Temple versus 0-4 UCF. And not only are the Owls back, but so is Stan Drayton. The head coach missed all of last week with a viral infection, but he likes a lot of what he saw from home while watching the Temple Navy game and moving on to USF. His biggest concern is number 10 wide receiver Xavier Weaver, who is averaging almost 80 yards per game.
We found a way to kind of get into this little roller coaster of, hey, we're going to stop the run or whatever it may be. But what I do know is we came out against Navy and played a complete game of complementary defense. I think our players are starting to get a good understanding of the direction that they need to go into individually in their preparation to get ready to play a team like a USF. USF is a very athletic football team. Athletically, on offense, they're going to bring real speed at the wide receiver position. Number 10's a legit receiver.
The Owls hope to snap their 4-game losing streak this weekend, and the same could be said for their opponent, who is winless in its last 6 games. We know one thing: one team is going to win its first conference game. Kickoff is Saturday at the Link. You can catch the game on ESPN at 2 p.m.
And we can't talk about Temple football alone.
To help us break down more on the USF matchup coming up, we'll bring on Inside the Nest reporter Sam Massad with more.
Hey guys, when we come back, we'll look ahead to see what's left on Temple's schedule. We're searching for a conference win. OwlSports Update will be back in just 90 seconds.
And welcome back. Temple's offense this season has left a lot to be desired. The Owls rank towards the bottom in most categories offensively, including points where they're averaging just 15 a game, and rushing yards where they're averaging under 100 yards per game. Passing game hasn't been much better either, as E.J. Warner ranks second to last in the AAC in completion percentage and has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. The Owls will have to change these trends to right the ship and erase a 4-game losing streak.
This is Temple's 5th straight conference game, and it's time to bring in some expert analysis on the Owls.
For that, we bring in Inside the Nest reporter Sam Massad, who joins us at the studio set. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be here.
Now, Sam, it was a very tough test for the Owls against Navy. They were without Stan Drayton on the sideline. How do you think the team performed without having their head coach in attendance?
You know, it's always a hard situation, losing that leader not only on the field but in the locker room as well. But I don't think it got to the Owls. Everett Withers did a great job stepping in for Coach Drayton, and Temple fought hard with a comeback that even led to overtime, even if it wasn't the outcome they expected.
Now, Sam, with USF coming up this Saturday, is this the Owls' last real chance at a conference win this season?
I think so. The game this weekend against the one-win Bulls is their best shot in trying to get that momentum back. Looking ahead, the opponents are getting much more difficult. ECU, Cincy, Huston, all 3 of these teams are in the top half of the conference standings, and Temple's just not ready to compete with the top dogs just yet.
Now, it's been a difficult year for the Owls, but who has been the most valuable player for the team thus far?
With how dominant this and good this defense has been this year, I think there's a lot of talent to choose from, but the clear MVP in my eyes has to be Leighton Jordan. This past weekend, he became the first player in Temple history to record 3 touchdowns in just 1 season. Not only this, he's also top 5 in interceptions, sacks, and tackles for loss in the American.
Sam, great pick and insight as always. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thanks for having me on.
We now transition from the gridiron to the fencing strip, where the fencing team competed in its first meet under Jenny Solomon. The Leocore Center welcomed close to 500 fencers from more than 30 schools for the 42nd annual Temple Open, and the Owls had a few top 10 finishes. The Novoselic sisters, Elizabeth and Anna, earned 6th and 8th place finishes, respectively, for the foil squad. Anastasia Jankowski finished 10th in the foil, while Emma Pincus tied for 9th to lead the Sabres. Naomi Ross placed 6th in the Epi. Senior epist Margarita Calderaro led the day for the Owls by taking home a second-place finish for her best career performance at the Temple Open.
Well, Temple Open is legendary, and so many people have come and said, thank you so much, like this is our favorite tournament. You know, I think the energy is outstanding. All the teams here are ready to go. It's the first tournament of the season for many of them, and for our team in particular, I know all of our young ladies are really excited to get out there and prove that nothing's changed.
Temple fencing has begun its first season without its legendary former head coach, but that doesn't mean she's done making her mark in Philadelphia. Jessie Dimich-Louvet is live at the Pavilion for more on Nikki Frank's upcoming Hall of Fame induction. Hey, Jessie.
Hey, Matt. Nikki Frank will be inducted into the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame this evening inside the event center at Live Casino. Frank has been the face of Temple fencing for the last 50 years when she started the program back in 1972. During her tenure, Frank has become the all-time winningest coach in women's at Temple history, amassing an impressive 898 wins. Even though she's in starting retirement, Frank was at the Temple Open over the weekend, this time as a volunteer.
Oh, it's a great honor. You know, it's Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame, and there's some great people in there, some Temple alumni that are in there, and so it's a wonderful honor, and I'm looking forward to it. It's an instinct, you're absolutely right, so I'm holding myself back and I'm just cheering. And so I'm trying to stay up in the bleachers, and so that, but I want them to know that I'm here supporting them. You know, once a coach, always a coach.
Temple fencing has had a winning record in 48 of Frank's 50 seasons at the helm. The two-time Olympian is already inducted into 4 Hall of Fames. Now, we're getting ready for number 5. Reporting from the Temple Pavilion, I'm Jessie Dimich-Louvet. Guys, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Jessie. Frank is one of 2 Temple alumni being inducted into the Philadelphia Hall of Fame, the other being Art McNally, who served as a referee and field judge in the NFL for 9 years before becoming the NFL supervisor of officials in 1968. In August, McNally became the first NFL game official to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Frank and McNally will join an impressive group that includes Philadelphia Eagles all-time leading scorer David Akers and 2007 MLB MVP Jimmy Rollins.
We are now coming up on our second break of the show, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we will recap a beatdown on Broad by the women's basketball team in its first exhibition game under Diane Richardson. OwlSports Update, we'll be back after this. Welcome back. Integrated into the city of Philadelphia, Temple University has an array of community outreach programs to local schools. The lacrosse team has a partnership with one Philadelphia school, which was on full display at the Philly 5 Lacrosse Tournament held right here on campus. Friends and family of the Temple lacrosse team fill up the stands of Howarth Field at every home game. But at the Philly 5 tournament, a special group from the Thomas K. Finletter School also filled the stands and even got some time along the sidelines with the Owls. Middle schoolers who may have started out as strangers are creating a partnership thanks to the sport they love.
Harlem Lacrosse has been around for several years. We have programs in 5 different cities now. Give them access to the campus and partnering with the players and being able to sort of have some extra role models, you know, that they can aspire to be like.
Yes, let's go. In fall of 2017, the program was introduced to Philadelphia and has extended to 3 schools in the city.
For them to be around just amazing female role models is kind of what it's all about.
Temple Lacrosse hosts the program to watch them play, learn to play the sport through clinics, and to see what a campus at a university is like.
It was great. We got to meet them for the first time and teach them a little about the competitive spirit that it is to play in college. And we showed them the bell tower and we took some pictures at the Owl.
Rosen emphasizes the value of integration and inclusion of lacrosse for all the kids in the city to play.
When you look at our game, it is still played in the suburbs. It's primarily white, and we need to grow the opportunities for kids to play this game, not just so it gets you to college, but so you can love this game and everything that it can be, and it can open up the doors to everything in life.
Temple and the Harlem Lacrosse program intend on holding more events such as the one at the Philly 5 tournament with the goal of introducing those younger students to Temple's varsity players. Women's basketball on the court of the Leah Core Center for the first time under Diane Richardson, hosting St. Thomas Aquinas in an exhibition contest. An outlet pass to Joshua Clinton, take it up with the right hand, count the bucket, and one. Clinton finishing with 18, one of 4 Owls with double digits. The Owls took a 54-19 point lead into the first half, and the Spartans were bolstered and taken down by the 44% shooting from the Owls from behind the arc. Junior guard Tariana Gary and the Owls a dominating exhibition victory, 116-48.
Moving over from basketball to volleyball, the Owls were in Houston to take on the Cougars, and they're looking to avoid a 3-game losing streak. Midway through the first set, down by 6, Patricia Selinsky sets up the spike, and Peyton Boyd gets it past the blockers to cut into the deficit. Houston was trying to respond quickly as Morgan Jana spikes it, but it's stopped in its track by Chelsea Banks. Abby Jackson tried to chase down the loose ball, but can't save it in time. Cougars now back with the ball on offense. Morgan Jana leaping through the air to set up the spike as Isabella Fewitt hammers it down. Temple with its backs against the wall, down 2-0. Nikki Shamow dives to prevent the score. Jelma Perlick attempts the spike, but Houston once again denies the score as the Cougars go on to sweep the Owls 3-0. The best college tennis players in the country are in San Diego for the national championships, and that includes some of Temple's players. OwlSports Updates, Danny Podolsky is live at the studio set with news on the team's top doubles pair. Hey, Danny.
Thanks, guys. As the women's team finishes up its fall season, the Owls' first double pair of graduate Jamie Y and freshman Micah Uchijima has been excellent. They earned a spot in the National Fall Championship this week. The bond between these two has been their key to success, despite the age difference.
For just about any collegiate doubles pair, a strong relationship is crucial to success. The Owls' top pair of graduate Jamie Y and freshman Maiko Uchijima has a bond that goes deeper than fans might see on the court. Y is the graduate student, captain, and she's 23 years old. That's 5 years older than Japan's Uchijima, who is now living in the U.S. for the very first time.
I have been working with the players, working with newcomers, trying to help them to fit into our culture.
I want to be like her. She's a captain and she's leading everyone, so yeah, it's so cool.
Coming all the way from Japan has not been easy for Uchijima. Y fully understands, as she once made the same jump halfway around the world.
We go eat, we go to Chinatown, we have Asian food to feel a little bit of home.
And Jamie is a born leader. She's also the captain of our team, and she plays with so much energy, and it really carries through. So anyone who plays with her just picks up on that energy.
The bond between Y and Uchijima has translated into early season success. The pair picked up the ITA Super Doubles Regional title, setting the tone for what's to come.
Looking to win our championship this year as well. As you can see, we do have a very strong team. Looking forward to do that.
Y and Uchijima are currently in San Diego for the National Fall Championship. This tournament runs through Sunday. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Dan Podolsky. Matt and Eric, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Danny. With fall sports wrapping up around campus, it gives us another chance to showcase some of the top talent we've seen before the winter and spring sports begin. It's once again time for the Power Play.
Matt, my Power Play pick this week, I'm looking at the Temple football team and wide receiver Ahmad Anderson Jr. Anderson Jr. led the Owls for a second straight receiving yard game of 100+ receiving yards. The redshirt junior tacked on a touchdown as well as 8 receptions in the Owls' loss to Navy. He's emerging as the Owls' leading wide receiver since Adonica Sanders left in the game against Tulsa. And the one-handed catch for him at midfield, I can watch this on replay all day long.
He certainly had a big game. For my Power Play pick, I'm going with a player who had a big part in the Temple Field Hockey's push to the playoffs. Myrthe Schuilenburg, the junior midfielder, had an extremely productive weekend as she scored the second goal of the game in the Owls' win over UConn that ended up getting them into the Big East tournament. It was off a penalty corner, which has been Temple's main strength on offense this season, and it was a laser shot to the back of the net. She was also credited for an assist in Temple's 4-0 win over Lock Haven on Sunday. She's been coming up huge for the team when they have needed it most.
Matt, great picks. It looks like we went to the offense for our power plays this week. We now step into a break. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we'll recap the men's soccer team's final match of the season. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Welcome back to OwlSports Update. The men's soccer team took on Charlotte in its final game of the season. And the first goal in this one came in 21 minutes just into the game. Ironically, it was scored by Charlotte's own number 21 as Nick Scott's shot finds the back of the net to get the 49ers on the board. Charlotte has another goal by Philip Jacques to go up 2-0 before this shot goes off Owen Goronski's hand, then off the post. Cameron Lacey would finish it off, a 3-0 lead for the 49ers. And then just minutes later, Lacey does it again. His shot slips past Goronski for another score. Temple would eventually get on the board off of a beautiful shot from Sean Rozier. However, it's not enough as Charlotte would eventually take down the Owls in the last game of the season by a final score of 5-1.
From a school named Charlotte to a coach named Charlotte, Charlotte Imer is Temple's cross country's newest assistant coach, and she comes with quite a resume. OwlSports Update's Jessie Dimich-Louvet is back with her story.
Charlotte Imer has always been a runner, but it wasn't until she couldn't run anymore that she really found her passion in the sport.
I'm getting a lot more fulfillment out of helping other people and kind of sharing my knowledge.
This is Imer's first season with the women's cross-country team, but her time in the sport began when she was a little kid, lasting until she got a stress fracture her senior year of college.
From that moment, I would say is the turning point where I was like, you know what, I've kind of accomplished what I wanted as an individual in this sport.
Though Imer got her start at the D3 level, she was destined to be a coach on North Broad.
My mindset ultimately is D1.
Imer brings a breath of fresh air and a different training philosophy to the program.
Every mile has to be intentional, and that's kind of one of my mantras with this team.
She's kind of like very perceptive of like what we are feeling like and what we kind of want.
Having been in the athlete's shoes just a few years prior, the All-American knows exactly what they are going through.
There's times when you're being very critical and like down on yourself, like I can really relate to that because I've been in that space before. So I like my athletes to have some input. I want this to be their program.
The Melbourne native expects big things from her new team.
Just really looking forward to the future of this program as me and the other coach are looking to kind of really build something special here.
Though the Owls are a young squad led by a young coach, Imer is ready to bring them to new heights. Reporting from the Temple Sports Complex, I'm Jessie Dimich-Louvet, OwlSports Update.
Now let's take a look at some upcoming matchups. Take a screenshot of this. It's a loaded weekend for Temple Athletics. We look at women's tennis competing in the ITA Fall National Championships. Field hockey opens the Big East tournament at 1 p.m., while volleyball hosts Tulsa at McGonigal Hall at 7 on Friday. In the middle, on Saturday, we mentioned football at 2 o'clock. Men's crew and tennis both compete here in Philadelphia. And at the bottom, women's fencing travels up to State College to compete in the Garrett Open. And at the bottom right, a win on Friday advances field hockey to the Big East Tournament Championship scheduled for Sunday at 4 p.m.
And here's all the great content that you could follow on OwlSports Update, starting with the Sports Brief every Monday on social, Inside the Nest on Tuesdays, live at 12 on TUTV, and our flagship show, OwlSports Update, on Thursday at this very same time.
That will wrap up our show for today. At this time Friday, the field hockey team will be warming up for its Big East tournament matchup against #1 ranked Old Dominion.
And for the entire OwlSports Update crew, he's Erik Jesberger. I'm Rineer. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great weekend.